That thing called nature seems to be self-aware, possessor of intention, choice, decisions, knowledge. So eventually what we are coming up to understand is that nature,
what you call God,
that nature is no different than what we call the creator. But the reason why you are accepting the nature as the alternative, is it because nature doesn't demand you to be good, to be nice, to be compassionate, to be merciful, to be just, to be people of empathy, while the creator who tells us all of that in terms of our moral guidance. Now if I ask you, does nature, possessor of self-awareness, intent, choice, wisdom, knowledge, does this nature give us moral guidance? Do you think, I'm going to ask because I think this is something that it will trigger us to think even more. Do you think our parents have given us life, what we call life? Do they have the ability to give us life? Did they have the ability to give life? Give life, not a process. They were involved in a process, but do they have the ability to give life? The capability of giving life.
You know what happened in the last 50 years? Fertility had decreased in the world 50%.
Sure. I want to talk about this life. If a parent has the ability to give life, that means that ability is there within them. So if we died as, I want you to ponder on this one. If we died as little kids, our parents will be able to give us life again because they have the ability. So if a child dies now, do you think the parents can say, life, and the child's back to life again? No. So when a child dies, the parents are unable to give them life. Demonstrating to us what is life is not there to give. Because if they had the ability, they can give life again and again and again and again. No, that's what I mean by ability. Instead, what they were in a process where within a process, they brought us into existence. But they did not give us life. That's why we say life is not there to give in the first place. Through the mechanisms, life was infused to us by an external entity who called the creator. Because if think really, if we as parents have the ability to give life, when our children don't have life, we can give them life again and again. We know that we can't.
One thing is to have the ability to create life, and another different thing is to have the ability to bring life back to someone that was dead already.
Yeah.
So
why can we not do that? Why are we not able to do that?
Because there are two different
Sure.
things.
Let's talk about a dead child and a parent weeping and crying. Why are the parents unable to give life to that dead child and reinfuse with this life so that they can animate it again? Why are they unable to do that?
Evolution doesn't
Well,
work like that.
No, it doesn't go, but why are they not within? Why is it not within their power and their ability to give life again? No. You see,
You can give it.
the life is something.
She has a sister. They've done it more than one. Okay? So they can give life again. Some people go...
The same person who dies, we are not able to give life. It demonstrates to us what is life is something that we don't have the ability to. Otherwise, I can give life again and again.
Yeah, you can.
I want to really think about this.
You can create
We can't create even a single cell in our labs. Do you know that?
We do.
In which laboratory have we created a cell?
Many.
It happens every day, every second.
No, we
Yes,
can't.
we do.
We are not able to, as scientists, do you know how complex a cell is?
Well, not completely, but a little.
We cannot create a cell in which it is enclosed within a cell boundary, and then create nucleus, mitochondria, ribosomes, Golgi bodies. We can't create any of that. The only thing scientists are doing, what they're calling cloning. They can clone a cell because that's what the program is there within that. The instructions are copied, and then that's how we are cloning it. But to create everything from fresh, from fresh ingredients. No scientist on planet Earth can ever say that this is how we've done it. No scientist. You cannot find any scientific institution, any scientific lab, any peer-reviewed scientific journal in which they said, you know what, these are the chemicals we had, these are the amino acids we had, these are the proteins we had, and then we've made together, and now we've made a mitochondria, we've made the Golgi bodies and ribosomes.
They've been doing it for a long time.
No, they haven't been.
Yeah.
Are you in?
They change the dishes, the Petri dishes, they change the solution.
Where can I read this about it? Are you scientific minded yourself? Do you have a scientific background?
Yeah.
You have a scientific background. And you really think that scientists in their labs, they have created a cell from scratch and within it they made mitochondria. Which publication is it published in? Is it in the Cell? Is it in Nature?
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's been doing it in the 70s.
No, it's never been done. It's never been done. I request you to go when you go home. Sure, but I request when you go home, you can do the search in scientific journals. Look, I used to work in cancer labs as well, right, at certain point, for my research. So I know for sure that within the scientific domain, we haven't made a cell in which, from scratch, we made all those components within a cell. It is beyond our capacity to make. Even to make RNAs and proteins and so on and so forth is so momentous task. To make a cell, which then has the properties of life, that it replicates and so on. No. So I think what's happening is people have done something and they sort of sold it to say like we've made it. You may be referring to cloning. So what I'm highlighting is this fact is this life-giving property human beings don't have.
Well,
Not
in the lab. In the lab as well, because they can do same thing that happens naturally.
No, because we are taking already existing, which is already there, that needs to be come together, right? You know, the spermatozoa and the ovum, and put it in a test tube, and then they start forming, you know, a blastocyst, and eventually they form. That's already within the programs. We haven't made any of that. We haven't made the programs within the DNA and so on. That's already there.
That happened very slowly, actually very fast, a long time ago.
No, what I'm saying is, this is not a human creation. That's there from God's creation. You are putting together, instead of in the womb, you're creating an artificial womb called the test tube, with the right conditions, and making it grow.
I think it happened randomly with the right condition, by chance. I think it happened randomly with the right condition, by chance, yeah.
We are trying with our right conditions, and we are failing. If that was the case, people would be just creating human beings, you know?
We are.
So are they creating human beings with the best form of gene pool? Saying, you know what, I want someone to be 6 foot tall, white and blonde, I want to be intelligent.
That's a bit nasty, isn't it? That's a bit nasty. It's like blonde and tall.
Exactly those characteristics.
Yeah, so we can't do that.
You want
No, that's the hope.
you want things to happen randomly.
In the Quran, the book we believe is a communication from our Creator, tells us, you know, if even mankind were to come together to create even like a fly, they will be unable to do so. And even if the fly were to snatch something away from them, they won't be able to retrieve them. Look how weak they are, the one who is seeking and one is sought. Even a fly. Why is the Quran even alluding to the point that even if the fly were to snatch something away, you won't be able to retrieve it? Can we retrieve anything the fly snatches away from us? Do you know what happens when the fly takes of its food? The fly has this tongue like proboscis. Do you know what it does? If it wants the food, say the food is there. First what it does is it spits some digestive enzymes. That food is already digested partly. And then it takes it back. You cannot retrieve the food. It's like, can you unfry an egg? You can't. So the Quran is telling you, even the fly, if we were to take anything, snatch it away from you, you won't be able to retrieve it. And we know now that whatever the fly is snatching away is irretrievable in the form, because it's already digested. So the Quran is that communication. Now that communication, we say, is from that intelligent creator of our cosmos. You see, nothingness cannot create us. Nothingness cannot create anything. We are something, must come from something, eventually. Do you agree? Nothingness cannot create this wonderful bike. Nothingness. Because nothingness doesn't have anything, any power, any existence, any energy. It cannot create anything. Because there is something there, there cannot be a time in the past ever where there was absolute nothingness. There has to be something always. That something that was always, we say the first something, if you go all the way back, is the self-sufficient being, the necessary being, which everything else relies on. That being is what we call the creator. So when you say like you might be an agnostic, the evidence is there in something for the existence of the creator. If you have something now, there has to be always something. Always. So this something to create, to change, to manipulate anything must be conscious. If you have a scientist, he sits there on his computer to make that bike in his factory. It will never happen if he doesn't consciously will to program. Then all this robotic arm comes along and places the wheel here and there. If consciousness is not intending this to happen, the scientist and the manufacturer of your bike and the factory, if it's just there, bike will never happen. Give million years, trillion years, he might have a plan in his head. If he doesn't intend it to make it, it will never happen. This universe to come as it is, if the creator, this self-sufficient being, did not intend it to be like this, it will never come to be in this form. So our universe itself is evidence of a creator who has a will and energy and power and the ability. So not only...
Do you believe that there is one creator of that made everything? I just don't believe that.
But that's believable by looking at the universe.
No, that's for you.
So tell me now, how do you explain this universe?
From your point of view, not from my point of view. From my point of view, it doesn't have to be someone creating everything. It's nature.
Is nature conscious?
Has the ability to create life, create animals, create insects, create humans. It doesn't have to be God that creates everything.
Okay, let's understand. Good. Can I try to understand your point of view? Nature has the ability to create all this variety of life forms.
We are part of the same. It's not we are humans.
Okay.
There is nature and there is.
I want to understand a bit about this nature. Is nature conscious?
Yes, I believe so.
Does nature have a will? Will? Intention? Is nature intelligent? Possessor of a will?
It has destiny.
Does nature have a will, possess a will to do things? Instead of, when we have a choice, I have a choice, no, you have a choice, if you want, to write from here or from there. You might decide either way. That's your choice because of intent, because of a will. If you did not have a will, then you don't know where to go, where to sit, where to write. Does nature have a will to decide this or that? So nature is a conscious being or entity which has a will. Is nature knowledgeable? Does it possess knowledge? Without knowledge, can you make this bike, this wonderful bike, with all these gears?
Once again, that human made, we are part of nature.
But
So nature has many different levels of consciousness. High level of consciousness like human, and low level of consciousness like simple animal. Or
let's take it a bit forward. This bike to be made with all these spokes and the tube inside, right? You inflate it. You need knowledge. Without knowledge, you can't assemble a bike like this.
But to fly,
So far.
to fly like a bird,
Does knowledge possess? Does nature possess this kind of knowledge?
yeah, we are part of nature.
So nature is a being that possesses.
Nature is not a being.
What is it?
We are beings.
Nature is an entity.
Nature is
Okay.
what we
Nature
call
is an entity, is a thing which is real, possesses self-awareness, possesses will, possesses knowledge. That's what you're telling me.
It's because you are
Hold on, please.
you are trying to make nature become an individual to be able to create life, and it doesn't work like that. It doesn't have to have.
But when you give nature the properties of making choices, decisions, intelligent ones, to make complex, like you're saying the nature made capillary systems within the trees, right? The water defies gravity and goes up from the roots to the branches. Nature designed it. So you're giving nature the ability to design. So you're telling us the nature has intelligence, possessor of knowledge and wisdom. So whenever you assign certain characteristics to a thing, we are trying to understand what that thing is. That thing called nature seems to be self-aware, possessor of intention, choice, decisions, knowledge. So eventually what we are coming up to understand is that nature,
what you call God.
that nature is no different than what we call the creator. But the reason why you are accepting the nature as the alternative, is it because nature doesn't demand you to be good, to be nice, to be compassionate, to be merciful, to be just, to be people of empathy, while the creator who tells us all of that in terms of our moral guidance. Now if I ask you, does nature, possessor of self-awareness, intent, choice, wisdom, knowledge, does this nature give us moral guidance? He's nodding his head no. So I'm asking you again, does nature give us moral guidance, how to live our life? Why not?
You have to look for moral guidance.
Oh, no, why not?
Because you have to look for that yourself. You're intelligent.
No, I want to know from the knowledgeable nature. Nature such knowledgeable, such entity, possessor of this amount of ability and power.
If you look at nature,
Does nature, why doesn't nature give me moral guidance?
Because you're not looking at nature for moral guidance.
But it doesn't control you. Then you have
No,
to
why doesn't the
decide.
nature tell me what and how I can live my life? Why doesn't it give me the moral code?
It probably is giving us a lot of things that we don't even realize.
We're not getting
you know, we see
Nature is
what the
telling us
TV
stop
has,
having bombs,
but we don't see
using
exactly. We
plastic,
don't see.
using pesticides, killing each other.
I
Nature is
think
telling us a
it's
lot of
telling
things.
us a
but we
lot
don't
of
listen.
things, but we just don't see it. We don't listen to it.
We don't
Does nature communicate to us in an infallible form of communication that I can say, there you go, that's a letter from nature, and nature's telling me I should.
There is no such a thing.
Is there such a thing?
No, that's ridiculous.
No, I know it doesn't exist. So why is the nature, who has given us information and it is a possessor of information, not telling us how to live our
Get
life?
the information that you want from where you want.
You only want someone that can.
That tell
No,
you-
I want to know from that nature.
So a creator can only be someone that can write and speak like you do.
No.
Otherwise,
I want to be a person who, knowing there is this creator of this reality, and yet that creator who gave us information in our DNA is not telling us why he created us or why it created us. The nature, which is in your view, is what gave us life.
it's telling you why. But everybody
What is the purpose of our life
can believe whatever
according
you
to
want.
nature?
Whatever you want, you know.
No, according to nature, what is the purpose of our existence, our creation, our being here?
What is your purpose?
According to nature.
What is the purpose of your life?
No, I know from my creator, I know from the creator, the other alternatives, what purpose of life is. But if you believe it's nature instead, what according to nature is our purpose of life?
He told you.
Then I want to know about your view.
But I will ask you when you ask me that, because I want you to answer your question with you.
No, there is a purpose of life, is to know our creator and to be grateful and thankful to our creator.
So, how do you know your purpose of life?
Right. So the creator has communicated with us with communication.
How? What
How?
kind of communication?
By
With you.
raising from human beings agency and giving them the guidance in the form of what we call revelation. So when they bring, I'm not me personally. So when these what we call messengers of the creator.
Show to someone else, and then that someone else is telling you.
No, this someone else is an agent of the creator. We call prophets and messengers, and they convey to us this message. The message itself comes with proof and evidence. So does the prophet and messenger.
Human being like you just say to you, "Oh, I spoke with the creator, and he told me."
That's not sufficient. They have to provide evidence.
How is that?
Right. So evidence comes from within the communication itself they receive. For example, the Quran, what we believe is the final communication from our Creator for our guidance in this life. And the Quran comes with its own evidence. It's from the divine. It's from the Creator. Because otherwise, anyone can say, good. Good. I will share with you, sir. Good question. The Bible, which contains the Gospel and the Torah, as at one point, likewise, communication and guidance from the Creator, but of course it got corrupted. We believe Quran is the final form of this communication, preserved and protected.
I don't know that much about the history of...
We can leave that, but we can talk about how it is corrupted and so on. But when we say what evidence is there within the Quran, evidence, what kind of evidence would you like which will convince you?
I'm asking what is the evidence that
No,
convinces you?
there are various types of evidence, but what I would like to offer to you to scrutinize that evidence is an evidence that will convince you. So what kind of evidence are you after? Are you after rational evidence? Are you after historical evidence? Are you after scientific evidence? Are you after evidence in terms of, laws and legislations and morality? Are you after, does the Quran say something of the future, it comes true, like prophecy? What exactly you're after in terms of
I
evidence?
would like to be the next prophet. From whichever religion.
This is something that is interesting. A good question you ask.
Describe to me.
People cannot make themselves prophet or messengers of God. The Creator chooses among the people who he thinks is best fit to convey and deliver the message. So that's why the messengers has always been people who are humble, people who are humble, truthful, reliable, honest, upright. These were the characteristics of the messengers. So now,
Not getting anywhere because
what proof and evidence would you like?
what you're saying to me is just another human told you that he heard the Creator and the Creator told him.
So if I said God told me so, would you believe? You won't believe.
If you tell me
It's
that,
not just,
if you tell me that
it's a good thing. So look, these are the mechanisms. The Creator individually tells us, everyone, this is your message, individually, or he chooses an agency and establishes that this is the agency. When the king or the prime minister, I'm going to give you an analogy. When a country sends someone to another country, who do they send? Do the king and the prime minister go themselves all the time? No. What they send is a representative on their behalf. So, no, I'm talking about in an ethnic matter, a representative who will have the authentic, what's it called? Identity that they represent this country. When, for example, someone goes from another country to another country, we will be sure that, yes, this is an official representative of the country. The Creator could give individually all our messages to our own self, or he chooses a representative who we can identify is indeed the agent of our Creator delivering a message. Now think about this process.
You identify him. I don't identify him as my...
No, we need to identify. We need to identify, because if we don't, then how are we going to know for certain?
We won.
So that is why the Creator, being merciful and just, gives us identification methods to verify.
Because you haven't said anything. Really.
Okay, let me give you 3 pieces of evidence. No. I want to give you evidence. That's why I asked you what evidence will satisfy you.
Just give me. Just
Okay,
tell me. Just
here it is then.
say, I want to give you. I will.
Fine.
Just
Okay.
tell me that.
The Creator says in the Quran, God created the heavens and He's expanding it. Is this an evidence for you?
What was the evidence?
God has created the universe and He's expanding it. And at one point, He will reverse this expansion and He'll contract it back like a roller scroll, and it will have again a big crunch. So, not only that, this communication, the evidence is this. This earth and beyond, everything beyond that, the sun, the galaxies, the Milky Way, the Andromeda, everything else, as one, at one point, one piece joined together. And then it was parted asunder. And it's expanding. But it will contract again. Now, why is this a piece of evidence? Because now we know from our scientific understanding that the universe is expanding. It's for sure. It's for sure. So, someone 1440 something years ago living in a desert without any technological tools, telescopes, like, why them? Look at me and you. Can you see the universe expanding? With your own eyes, can you see? Look at the sky. Daytime or nighttime. You cannot see the universe expanding. So even today, we, without the technological tools, we cannot establish the universe expanding. But Prophet Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad, who was the messenger, the final messenger of God, he was given this information, and this information is for what? The Quran says, this is for the people who don't believe yet, to the unbelievers. Have they not known? أَوَلَمْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. This is the Quran in Arabic, original language. It says, have the unbelievers not known that the heavens and the earth was joined together in as one piece, and God parted it asunder, and He made every living thing from water? Would they then not believe? So the Quran is addressing the people who don't believe in God yet, in our Creator yet. At the end of this information, He says, would you then not believe? In between, gives information from astrophysics and biology. One about the common origin of the universe, and the other one about common origin of life from water. This is what the Creator gives us evidence for us to reflect and to verify that this indeed is from Him. Otherwise, anyone can believe in anything. They can say Harry Potter's book is from God. But the Quran gives us information, layers of information from science, from history, from human body, how we are created in different stages. Embryologically, without a microscope, you can't see these forms, and the Quran describes them. Why? So that we have no doubt in accepting that this is from our Creator, and we have no doubt in believing in a life hereafter where we will be recreated again. The Quran says, just like He created you once, first time, He will give you life and recreate you second time again, and it's not difficult. And He will create you a second time again for a reason. This life is created for a test, that we live our life according to how our Creator wants, and if we don't, then there will be a hereafter where there will be a day of judgment in which we will be judged on our belief in our actions. Did we believe in our Creator and we're grateful to Him? Did we do good things? Or we're always doing bad things? And then our decisions will be made, whether we go into a place of eternal happiness, joy, tranquility, bliss, or another place in which there is suffering and misery and pain.
You don't have to wait till your second life or die. You make this
No.
place-
Enjoy it now.
you make
You
this
see,
place a nice
do you know why we
place,
die?
You make it hell.
This is a question to both of you. Why are we programmed to die? Apoptosis in our cell. The cells are programmed to die. So you know there is this intelligence behind designing us with a program that we all have to die. So just like the one who created death will create life again so that we will be given the due that was asked from us. Did we fulfill the purpose of our life? So yes, when the Creator tells us about the embryological development to make us understand that He created us like this, providing evidence of His divine existence, likewise providing evidence that there will be another life in which there's heaven and hell, and we need to choose whether we go to heaven and hell. How are we going to choose this unless we know about it?
We're in that life already.
You see, we can say like this is the life. The Quran actually says, some people say, you know what? You are exactly echoing my friend.
Like, we've been in the same...
I want to really shock you with something. The Quran,
Round and around and around
you know
and around.
what? The Quran, do you know what the Quran says? No. The Quran says there are people who are happy with this soul life. They think this is the life, and we live and die, and there is nothing else after we die. Once we are bones and dust, there's nothing. You know what God says? You know what the Creator says? He will recreate you just like the thumb of your fingers, just like the tip of your fingers.
When we are gone, we are
What's so
gone.
special about this?
We'll never be the same again.
What's the tip of your fingers?
People, different.
Hang on.
Different
What is
ideas.
so special about our fingertips?
I know they're unique.
They are unique. Our Creator tells us, just like our fingertips are unique, He will recreate us again as unique as we are. Now, why is the Quran alluded to this fact? When did we find out our fingerprints are unique? When are we using this in forensic science? Very recently. Quran was given 1440 something years ago to a prophet living in a desert. Yet his people did not say he's a liar and so on. He was known to his community to be truthful and reliable, honest.
You see, I had
This is the characteristics when you
this
study.
conversation with my grandmother like hundreds of times. She was Catholic, and she wouldn't understand that I don't believe in her God and all that. So she tried to convince me over and over and explain everything, It was pretty hard for her to actually accept me the way I am, with my belief and the thing that I don't believe and all that, But I remember when she was dying, she wasn't thinking of God or anything like that, She had done everything that she had to do. And she looked at me, she was dying, she had blood, vomiting blood and everything. And she was smiling still, So that is the important thing at a human level. Nothing about religion, God and all that. It's about that moment that you forget about all of that and they only love, That's the important thing. And that's what I saw with my grandmother. We have millions of arguments and all that, but we love each other. And at that moment she, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but out of all of this,
Don't try to convince me.
no, out of all of this, you know in your heart,
My grandmother tried to convince me.
we have to be receptive to the truth, wherever the truth
There's
is.
many different truths. That's your truth.
Truth is not subjective.
For you.
Is truth subjective?
We respect you, like it's
No, I respect your opinion, but what I'm saying is truth is not subjective. Truth is objective. The fact that if you believe,
it is like that.
no,
So it's okay.
you are with your own choice, you decide how you live your life. But we need to think about the consequences.
I understand with your point. You don't understand mine.
I try to understand your point.
Okay, we don't.
No, please don't say I didn't understand your point. I did go through your understanding of nature.
We just don't believe the same thing. And it's fine.
That's fine. At the end of the day, we will find out what the truth is, right? No, when we die, are we not going to find out what the truth is?
I think we
So you think when we die, the worms comes and eats us and that's it? Do you think that's it? When you and I die, and that's it. Where is justice? The people who kill and murder and rape and they die and they get away with it?
And the people that get raped,
Do you believe in justice?
murder,
Do you believe in justice? Do you believe in justice? Come on. Every heart knows about justice and hopes for justice. So those people who kill people and then get away because the law did not catch them, and they die and the worm comes and eats them, and the worm comes and eats you, your good friend, and it's the same. Where is justice?
there is no justice in there.
There will be a justice. There will be a justice in the hereafter, because you know justice itself tells you they will not be getting away with it. We believe justice demands that there will be a day of judgment. And your heart tells you it makes sense. Think about it. Anyway, I leave it to it.
Heart tell me the same thing.
Take
I
care.
hope that it-
Take care. Take care. Nice bike. Take care.